In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the hood latch release cable on this Ford Excursion. It goes from your hood release lever to the hood latch itself. Let's get started. Let's remove the hood latch off of the upper radiator support. It's held on with two 8mm headed bolts. Remove both of them. If you flip it over, you'll see how the hood release cable is secured in. We basically have to fold in these tabs so we can actually release the cable. Now you can do this several ways. You could use pliers, a little screwdriver, pry bar, whatever you have. You could even break these off if that's what it takes. Sometimes they do get seriously stuck in here. But looks like for me, I'm able to just squish them in one at a time. And I'm going to do this to all three. There's going to be one on the back side that's going to be quite hard to reach. Although you could try to spin this cable around to try to get to it a little bit better. You just can't spin it too much because then you're going to hide another one. Okay, well, since mine is rusty, I'm just going to pull this off with some pliers. This is basically all of the clips, which allows me to do this and remove the cable from the hood latch. We're going to take the new cable, stick it right in here where the old one came out of, and then slide this right into position till it locks in. And let's reinstall this, and then we'll follow the rest of the cable through. When you put this back, start in the two bolts. I'm going to start these by hand so they don't cross thread. As you tighten these, make sure that you try to get them in about the same position as they were before. You can see that the hood latch left a mark here, and the bolts will have left a mark on the hood latch. So just try to line everything up. That way the hood latches in properly. When you tighten these up, just give them about 1/8 of a turn after they bottom out and get snug. That's plenty tight. These are small, you don't want to break them. Follow the cable along, unclip it from any retainers that it's sitting on. You can use a trim tool for that. If you can reuse them, go ahead, but a lot of times these break. To reuse them, you just open them up, take them off of one cable, and put them on to the other. Before I clip that on, I'm going to feed this right through this opening, including this grommet. That's going to have to go with it. Of course, this seals it up on the firewall. Let's undo the last clip here before it goes through the firewall. Continuing, you can see that the cable goes right behind this bracket, and to get more space, I'm just going to unbolt it. This is the main fuse box, and I don't want to remove anything. I just want to push it away. That way we can stick that grommet right back there, and this will give us more space to work with. Three 8mm mounting bolts hold this entire bracket on, so let's remove all three. That was one, and there are two more right over here on the other bracket. Now lift this entire unit up, and you should be able to move it enough out of the way, basically just unhooks. And although that's not a lot of space, it is a lot more space than what we had, and we can see where the cable's going, and we can fish the grommet through from the new cable. And speaking of that, let's tie the two ends together on the new and the old cable so that as this pops through that way, and we're ready to pull it through, the new one follows. So my plan is to tape these two together like this so that as I pull the old cable, the new one can follow. This will be a little bit challenging just because cables will never want to be curved in the way that they weren't designed. So I'm going to try to hold it like this, use some tape, put them together, and that should make our job a whole lot easier when replacing the cable. All right, let's pull the cable through. Now looking right over here, we have to remove the parking brake pedal assembly so we can get to our hood latch cable and lever. And this is actually the powertrain control module, or engine and transmission control module, which we have to pull the parking brake pedal out of the way. I'm going to start with the 10mm mounting nut that is on the bottom here. Remove this. There's a 10mm bolt all the way at the top on the A-pillar right there. Kind of hard to see, but you can get to it with a couple extensions and a socket. Let's actually remove these two 7mm headed bolts that hold the plastic sheathing around this computer. There, now we can fully separate these two, the metal bracket from the plastic. Just pull this out. Okay, set that aside. At this point, I'm going to try to unbolt the parking brake pedal with this computer still here. It does move around. I may need to unplug it to completely remove it, but it looks like I do have quite a bit of swing out of it at this point. So using a 13mm socket, I'm going to remove the three mounting nuts holding this pedal on. One is at the bottom here. Another one is going to be all the way at the top over here. And the last one is actually all the way in the back at the top, which you can easily get to. It's just very difficult to see. Okay, with all of these off, you should be able to pull this pedal assembly right off Now from the other side of the pedal, you'll see where the hood release lever is. With the cable, pull the cable out of its slot here where it's mounted, just like that. And then just like on the hood latch side, we're gonna have to pinch the cable and just push it through where it locks in. I'm gonna use some pliers to squeeze on the two tabs. At the same time, I'm going to try and pull the cable through. It's not going to be easy. There we go. So now what we can do is loop this up and over. Set this back in here. And right through here, we can actually see on the firewall side where this cable comes through. Let's unplug this connection for the light that switches on the dash when you apply the parking brake. Disconnect that. And what I'm actually going to do is pull this cable. This releases the parking brake out of parking brake pedal assembly. Same way, just squeeze on the two tabs. There's one on each side. Okay, take this out, and now we're actually able to pull the parking brake pedal assembly off of its mounting studs. Just wiggle it and pry it. Just like that, and like this. Make sure this cable stays out of the way so it doesn't get bent. You can turn this, unhook this if needed. Now we can have plenty of access to pull this cable through. So I'm just going to grab it and start pulling it. There we go, grommet pops out, that's perfect. I'm just going to keep at it until the new cable comes through here. All right, there's our tape. Perfect. Cable's completely through. However, we can't stop here. That grommet needs to pop through. All right, let's continue pulling this cable through. If it gets caught on anything, go up in the engine bay and free it up. Okay, there it is. And grommet poked through. Perfect. Just keep pulling it. All right, there we go. With this cable pulled all the way through, I'm going to push the grommet in position to seal everything up again. I'm going to pull on the other end of the cable now, and this is going to help me push that grommet into position. All right, that's fully seated. Bring this back. Make sure you pull it all the way. All right, and that's it. Now we can remove our electrical tape that we put on here so we can actually remount everything else. And there's the old cable. It's time to put everything back, starting with this insulation. Push it up against the firewall. And then take the parking brake pedal assembly and hook in the parking brake release cable onto its little fork down here, just like that, and swing it over. As you do this, you're going to want to make sure these cables don't tangle up. Make sure that the hood release cable follows the outside, not the center. We'll hook it in a little bit. This cable has to go in here. This is for the hood release. Perfect. At this point, holding the parking brake pedal like this, let's hook in this cable right in here, swing it up, and latch the sheathing into this hole. This is where it mounts. Okay, make sure that that is clicked in, locked in all the way. Doing this at this point should release the hood. Let's continue bringing the parking brake pedal up, making sure that it doesn't get caught on anything, it doesn't pinch anything. All right. We had a connector here for the light that turns on the dash when you apply the parking brake. Clip that back in. Now just try to line it up back on the studs. Okay, that's on. Let's put on the 3 mounting nuts securing this assembly. Let's put on the 3 mounting nuts securing this parking brake pedal assembly onto the A-pillar. This third one is going to be quite tricky, going in all the way at the top here. All right, now snug all of them up. Do your best to get them tight. I know it's not easy to reach. All right, those are all tight. Let's put in the bracket that goes around the computer. Slide it in kind of at an angle, otherwise you'll get it caught on wires and brackets up there. Push the computer out of the way a little bit. All right, slide this into position, but do not bolt it on yet. We need this to move around so that we can put on the plastic sleeve that goes around it. All right. Push that in position, put on the mounting nut at the bottom. Don't tighten it yet, but I will bring it close. Now reach up here and install the top bolt for this bracket, which will be quite difficult just because it's hard to reach and see. Once you get it started, tighten it up. And tighten up the bottom one. Now all we have left to do is to secure the computer with the plastic bracket onto the metal bracket with these little 7mm headed screws. So start these in. And snug them up. All right, double check them. Perfect. That's tightened up. Let's reattach the fuse box that's in the engine compartment. I'm gonna have to lift it up and line up the 3 mounting bolts. Let's lift it up first and attach it on the tab that's on the bottom of this bracket. It's basically just has to hook into the fender. Just like that. Bring it closer to being lined up. Start one of the bolts in, don't tighten it. You still need it to move around to line up the others, and line up the others. With everything lined up, snug them down. All right, job is done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.